So next up we have Ryan. Ryan, like everyone here tonight, we recruited from the channel. Everyone here is a long-term regular follower of the channel. And I'll end up mapping your name back to reality, Ryan. Ryan goes by Maximus. And so he's been watching and he's ready to go. One of the things he's had the chance to have the advice of others. Ryan, anything you want to say by way of introduction? And then if you want, you can take over the screen and go.
Sure. First off, nice to meet everyone face to face virtually. In the same way that I kind of cheated by getting Danny's assistance before the resume review, I kind of got Pentaquant's assistance about a month ago before the pitch show even started and got his feedback. And fun fact, he told me no, so I will try and convince him this time.
A second bite at the apple. All right, fair enough.
Yes,
I'm
I may have
excited.
not done a great job framing it the first time, but we'll give it a second go.
All right, have at it.
All right. Share screen looking good?
Share
Not
screen
yet.
hasn't done anything yet.
Okay, how about
Yep.
now? Okay.
Oh,
So
this looks fun. Coffee.
yes. Yes. So to
Go.
frame it,
Favorite subject.
we are trying to reimagine the labor in the service industry with Drip. And we're going to start with coffee because everyone loves coffee. And Drip is a branch company of a larger robotics and machine learning company. But we're starting with Drip to show you, the investors, that we can make money, not just be an R&D company. Okay, next slide. So when you go and get your cup of coffee, what are the two things that make you angry the most? Well, that cup of coffee up there on the screen is the same cup of coffee prepared by 5 different people. They look completely different and they all taste different. There's human error and lack of consistency between orders. And with everyone wanting custom, unique experiences when they go and they get their coffee, it's hard to replicate that. And then the second one is when I'm going to work and I want to get my coffee, I want to pick it up and I want to be gone. But when I go to Starbucks, there's normally 15 people in the line at Starbucks, and it turns into a 45-minute experience. So we are trying to solve these two problems with robotic labor and machine learning. And here's how we're going to do it. So Drip is reinventing labor for quick service restaurants, and we'll expand into the non-coffee sector in just a little bit. So starting off, we are going to create an automated system that creates your cup of coffee using just-in-time preparation, similar to just-in-time manufacturing, but at a smaller scale for consumers. It's designed to eliminate human error and reduce wait times. We're going to combine all of the commercial espresso machines that create high quality coffee with articulating human mimicking robots and a mobile app interface and data tracking to customize and increase the experience everyone has during their ordering process. Some of the features that we're going to try and bring to market is instant pickup using facial recognition or QR scanner. One thing that we talk about in stream with Amazon is one-click ordering, because if you remove the number of touch points between orders, it actually gets people to order more. So if I can walk up, look at the interface, and it brings me my coffee without even having to take my phone out, makes it so much easier. Excuse me. And because we're using robot labor and order ahead technology, the order is prepared minutes before you arrive. And so it's fresh. It's not waiting on a counter because you ordered 30 minutes before you got there. You waited in the drive-through and it's been sitting. It's either cold or your iced coffee's melted. We have the option of order tracking with feedback alterations. You get your nitro cold brew with cream and it's a little bit too bitter. In the app, you can say, hey, I want it a little less bitter and we'll add cream next time. And we're going to remember that because it's a machine learning, not Becky or Sarah or Mike. Someone different every time is making your coffee. The footprint of the technology is scalable to fit the space. It can be in a drive-through building, or it can be in a small vending machine on campus. So we have alternative solutions. So the mobile ordering can be compatible with Siri, Alexa, or Google Voice, eliminating those touch points. And so you can say, hey, Siri, order my drip, and it'll be ready on the way there. The drink can be made to drink immediately or be ready in 10 minutes after picking up. So you can drink it right when you pick it up or when you get to work after your short drive. It can be connected to all your different courier services, Uber Eats, Postmates, Grubhub, DoorDash, so you can get it at work and you don't actually have to go get it. They can bring it to you. We'll use tracking via Google Maps or Apple Maps API, and there's going to be no line at the drive-through because your order will already be ready when you get there, and then you can just drive off. So let's talk about some of the tech behind the glass. So the main frame of the technology will be an articulating arm like you see in auto manufacturing. It can move in 3 axes simultaneously. It can be taught using motion tracking, similar to how they do it in the movies for CGI. We can put different connecting points on a employee of the company, and we can teach the robot the motions of how to prepare the specific item. It also allows for new items to be introduced off-site and then made in a large rollout. One of the things that is up and coming technology that we're really wanting to research that allows us to expand into different industries is a dexterous hand model using either artificial muscles or pressure sensors that allow for fine motor tuning of gripping joints. This allows you not to only make coffee, but maybe prepare a sandwich or do things that humans can do with robots. So let's talk about where this already exists. Cafe X is essentially a go to service break room coffee machine. It has a wonderful interface. It's beautiful. They have working prototypes and they're advancing their technology. But the robot technology really isn't all the way there. They have a machine that makes and dispenses the coffee, and the articulating arm takes the cup of coffee from the dispenser and puts it at the front of the machine. So there really isn't a lot of the robot making the coffee. They don't have plan ahead tracking, and their technology really isn't scalable to other industries in the way that we want to be. Someone who's a little bit further along is Rosum Cafe. They actually have a system where they can craft recipes fresh. They have the professional espresso machine, they have the beans, they have the cream, and they have the technology that allows the robot to make it custom on order. But they're not expandable into new markets like your chicken joints or a burger or sandwich place because they use the hook arm style. They don't have plan ahead tracking. They're only available in kiosk form, and they really don't have a go to market strategy. They just have some of the underlying technology. And that's where we're going to come in and advance. Some of the future applications after we get drip going to market making you money is we're going to expand into other food service applications with increasing the dexterity of the robots. You can do burgers, you can do sandwiches, you can do chicken, you can do any other simple human motion in a food service. How we're going to make money is labor as a service model. Drip can be its own brand, or we can franchise the labor to Starbucks or McDonald's or Burger King, anywhere where they may not be able to have consistent employees or they need a smaller footprint that can't sustain a large store. You can have a Starbucks kiosk with a single robot that is 24/7. One thing that the robot does is it eliminates the what's the word I'm looking for? The problems, for lack of a better word at the moment, that an employee has. Employees steal from you. Employees get sick, they don't show up to work, and they cost you money with other overhead charges like insurance. This helps to eliminate some of those. We want to also in the future integrate into these franchise models existing apps. So profiles already exist for Chick-fil-A and Dunkin'. We want to refine those profiles with instant feedback. Sam likes his chicken sandwich to have 5 pickles. Next time you go and order your sandwich, Sam is not probably going to get 5 pickles when he orders it because that's not something that the humans track or have the ability to follow. Repeatability between the orders is something that we can offer. Lastly, data gathering and machine learning are some of the most powerful things we get when introducing this tech into a large food service industry that serves billions of customers year round. We can get the walking and driving habits of people that you could Sell to an insurance company. Oh, this person drives recklessly. They drive fast. They run red lights. Also, you can give someone a pinged advertisement and see their willingness to eat out given that advertisement, which I think some people would find very valuable. So, who is the team for Drip? You have yours truly, the CEO and visionary of the technology. You have Watson, who is the head of machine learning, top of his class, and will make sure we do not waste your dollars. And lastly, Robert Plater, who is the founder of Boston Dynamics, will be in charge of robotics and development. So we have three founders who are here to make sure your investment hits 100 times. So, Sharks, I'm requesting a $5,000 grant to begin source code development, ensure that we have the best robotic design and prototyping, and the dude has to pay off his student loans. So, what do you say? Are you in?
All right. Nice, Ryan. Good job. Good job coming in on time, doing 10 minutes. Well done. Which is not a knock on Duke, by the way. He told me he'd be longer and had more data to cover. But good job doing a quick, crisp pitch. With that said, Danny or Peter, do you want to ask questions first?
I'll start it off here. Did you conduct any sort of potential customer surveys?
I did with a few employees of major franchises, and I won't give specifics just to keep the data. We spoke to a regional manager of a burger chain who worked in Texas, and this was their two major pain points that we tried to solve. This specific retailer is slower in drive-through time compared to their competitors, so that is something they want to speed up. And employees are just always a problem for them, and it actually caused a store to close because the employee pool in the area was not large enough, and it didn't have enough qualified candidates who weren't high school students that could dedicate time to the job. So those are the two main pain points that we saw that we tried to solve.
Okay, so it's a B2B play. You'd be selling into them, but have you talked to the end user?
So I've talked to a few consumers from both the coffee side and the other fast food side. Everyone enjoys the mobile ordering process, and because it uses data tracking and predictive just-in-time manufacturing, they can order their coffee when they leave their house, and they're very appreciative that their coffee is going to be made exactly when they arrive. It's not going to be sitting on a counter for 10 minutes, regardless of when they put their order in. So they like the mobile ordering. They like being able to instantly pick up their food. Um, they said it would be kind of weird having their food not made by a human, but I think once you get market penetration, that's something that no longer becomes a taboo.
I'll hold a couple of questions and let Danny or Ethan go. I've got plenty. I could take up all night here.
It's good. Well, given that, yeah, we can't ask everything, ask the ones you think will help others figure out how to pitch, right? Ask the questions that expose what you really need to know. Danny, do you want to go?
Yeah,
I,
the couple of things that popped up for me were really, um, have you done any research into what locations are a best fit for this? And the second piece is, um, the whole reason why I go to a coffee shop is for community. And this takes away the whole sense of community.
To answer the first question, I believe the best spot is where a traditional coffee shop can't go to begin. A either small population city that can't justify a $2 million expansion building for a Starbucks franchise, or a college campus where you have continuous purchasing power throughout the day, but maybe the store doesn't want to stay open 24/7 because you may only get two or three customers at 2 or 3 a.m., but the robot being 24/7 can service them. And as far as the aspect of community goes, you can introduce the labor system into the back of the house and keep the front of the house with an employee taking the orders and having the sense of community where there are chairs and tables, music, ambiance, and have the robot do the drive-through so that there is a efficiency brought to the drive-through system while not losing the ambiance that you normally see with an interior of Starbucks.
I'm gonna jump out of character for a second and say you missed a perfectly good opportunity to sell me on why I need Japanese robots with cute faces. Just think what you could do if you had an entire robot that had this entire personality
Uh-huh.
that was, a DJ on steroids, mixing up the drinks, mixologist type stuff,
Yeah.
right?
That is
That
something
would
we
sell me
definitely
on the
thought
community
about.
replacement.
Okay, so this idea was created less than 60 days ago, and the pitch I did to Peter was 45 days ago. So your feedback is really welcomed, as this is a continuously updating idea.
So if I may ask, one of my favorite questions to ask founders and entrepreneurs is why you? Why should I give you money? Why are you the one that we should back to go out there and solve this problem in the market?
Okay, I would say that I have the confidence to address anyone, and I will never feel like I'm out of place in a large business room meeting elevator pitch. So I have the ability to take this to the next level because I believe in myself. The next one is I am constantly learning. If I don't know something, I'm willing to put in the time, effort, and vigor to make sure that I learn it. I also believe I get along with people very well, and I would love to build up a team that empowers others to solve this problem alongside me because I know I can't do it alone.
Ethan?
Yeah, good answer, Ryan. Where do I want to go? What are my questions before we go into feedback? My first question
You
is
might want to disclose that your master's thesis was I got a
in
good
robotics.
chuck.
Yeah,
I got a good
you're in
chuckle
my
out of
sweet
that one.
spot. I was working on a
Perfect.
PhD at the Robotics Institute at Carnegie Mellon before I decided I didn't need to be Dr. Evans. So I worked on robot arms very similar to the ones you showed. That said, my first question is, have you ever worked in the coffee industry? Have you been a barista or run a coffee stand?
I have not specifically, but I do have a partner who has worked for Onyx in Arkansas, and they are three-time champion of the United States barista competition. So we have someone who is intimately close with the coffee industry,
Okay.
the recipes that we'll need.
Okay. So that would be, it's not just the recipes you'll need. I'm going to verge into advice. Explaining how you understand the customer and the environment needs to be in your pitch.
Okay.
So whether you call that person part of your team or how you arrange it, you call them an advisor, you need to cite the fact that you actually know the industry you're addressing.
Okay.
My second question is on the robotics side, and I won't go deep into this. Why do you believe that you need to have a robotic arm as opposed to basically an automated version, a more cleverly automated version of a regular machine that can still do all the customization but doesn't have an arm?
I believe it allows you to expand into other industries with a one-size-fits-all solution. Thinking past food service, if you can create a human hand or human arm or a mechanical body that can address the needs of other industries, then your market comes tenfold when I can teach it how to weld in Western Oklahoma.
That is true. I'd be interested, Peter, if you want to add to this. The challenge there is you're making your problem unnecessarily hard. And the food service industry, the coffee industry is a big enough target. If you could revolutionize coffee, Starbucks is a perfectly highly valued public company. So if you could revolutionize that, that's market one. And then, my God, fast food service is 5 more markets. And so it's essentially you're increasing. Yes, what you say is true, but you're what I would call boiling the ocean. You're risking. You're increasing the risk and complexity of successful execution against to get to a market size you don't need. And so, Peter, is there anything you want to add to that? And we'll switch. Then after you add, we'll go to sort of more pure feedback.
Yeah, I think that, well, this will provide a decent segue to that feedback. A lot of times in pitches, I will see development of, hey, problem solution, this is how we're going to execute it, and then they'll throw in a kicker of, and then we're going to expand into this market. And at that point, and given that most of my experience is in early stage investment, I don't care about that other market, right? I just want you to take this market on, and I want to know that you're able to execute on it. Because I think a lot of times people will put those kickers in there, but then it totally throws off the focus of the presentation and the pitch in and of itself.
Awesome. Thank you for the feedback.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go to pure feedback. Panelists and chat, by the way. Chat's been relatively silent here. Let's try and tell Ryan what he did well and what he can improve on. So chat, have at it. You can roll those through as fast as you can type. Danny or Peter, what did Ryan, maybe one or two things Ryan did well, one or two things you'd suggest he improve?
Hey, Ryan, can you go back to the first slide real quick?
Of course. This one or the title?
This one. One of the things that I thought you did really well was the here's the same drink created by 5 different people, right? You created a really good visual around where the problem was between that and the drive-through time. And for all of us, especially, COVID, work from home, all of that, and that's how we're projecting into the future. Time is money. It's a frustration. It's a hassle. And I like the fact that you're addressing a basic human desire to, I ask for something, I get exactly what I want. And it's consistent and I get it in a timely fashion, right? That's the way consumerism has kind of trained us. And so I thought you did that really well. One of the things that I thought was lacking is you kind of flipped from this into the solution too quickly.
Okay.
And human beings and Ethan will laugh at me, but human beings at heart are actually emotional decision makers. We use the data to justify our emotional response to a thing. And so I wanted more emotion here, especially since it's around coffee and food and community and those things. How are you going to make this a Apple experience for me? So think about how you can up it so that there's a lot more emotional investment from me, because then I'm willing to grant you a lot of generosity on the back end.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great feedback, Danny. There's a lot for people to learn here. So on the one hand, Ryan, you've done an incredible presentation. There's a lot of good here that we'll call out. There's also a lot for people to learn. Peter, have at it. I'll go last.
Yeah, I think I agree with some of these comments here in chat. This is a little bit of the issue with being on the panel, is that it's hard to, I'm trying to provide good feedback, but then again, is it a fully baked concept? Is it something that's mildly polished as a concept, or does it actually have a business model behind it? And with that, I think what was lacking for me is where is this a business and how is this a business? And you have the concept there, but what is the business model and what does that look like? What are pro formas? They don't even have to be very well thought out, but here's our top line estimate for the next 3 years. Here's our estimated R&D costs. And I think another thing that was very much lacking is this is a very hard tech product, right? You need a lot of experience with the robotics, an understanding of the coffee industry. And one way that I always kind of look to for this, some sort of validation, would be in that team page, right? So underneath your name, you list some attributes that make your experience relevant to this concept, your co-founder's experience relevant to the concept, and also a go-to-market, because this kind of gets back to what Danny was saying. Is there, what are your locations that you're going to push this out at? Is this going to be at a Walmart, out in front of a Costco, whatever? But what does that go-to-market look like? I think a positive, you're very confident in presenting, which was great to see.
Yeah.
And your confidence carried you throughout the presentation. And one last critique here. I think there were several slides where you could use a lot less words.
Yeah.
I think, for example, the one that we're looking at right now, if you just removed the text there and spoke to what was on screen, that would capture the audience much better.
Mm-hmm.
But
as
all in
I
all,
was
great
making
job.
this, I knew that this one was going to be very poor.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
this one we got stuck on for a little bit too.
And then future, I think I have a note here, the future applications one is very wordy as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and a key, thank you, Peter. I'll jump in. A key generally that you have to watch in presentations, and I suffer from it. I've done loads of presentations, is you don't want to be reading the slide to the audience. They can read. They read faster than you talk. As soon as it comes up, they're skimming for keywords. And so if you get into sort of reading what's there, it generally is not a great presentation at that point. You want to be, as Peter indicated was possible with the photos you had, the images or the things on the slide evoke and complement. They're evocative of what you want to say and what you want to convey. So that's part of my feedback is don't read the slides. Another part of my feedback that just hasn't been spelled out, but I did a presentation a couple weeks ago. I did an example presentation of my own, by no means perfect. But all presentations to any sort of investment need a business model of some kind. We talked about, and you can go watch what I did if you weren't watching at the time. You can go find the VOD. You need what's called use of proceeds. Basically, how are you going to use my money and what am I going to get for it? And so you have an idea here. You have an idea which amounts to, I want to make the coffee service business better by automating away the delays and the inconsistencies. By the way, that's like a one line. I just put your whole presentation in one line. Right? I want to make the coffee service business better by automating away the delays and inconsistencies. That is not perfect wording, but if you can come up with wording like that you like and have a one-liner, this is what Drip does. Drip removes the inconsistencies and delays from your coffee experience. That's fantastic. The problem that Danny poked at, and I'm not going to laugh at her at all. She's absolutely right. People going to Starbucks are half purchasing coffee at most and half purchasing a social interaction and entertainment experience. And you're addressing the convenience part, but potentially at the cost of the side of the customer or customers who want that social, tactile, physical experience. Loneliness is a real thing, and Starbucks made its living by defining themselves as a third place. They said everybody needs a third place. They have home, they have work, they need a third place, and that's like the Cheers, everyone knows your name. So what I'm getting at with this long thing is you do want to speak to the emotion, and particularly if you're going to make it a robot, I'm going to use negative words to emphasize the point. What you've told me is you want me to invest in making a better coffee vending machine. But there is a huge difference. Even if the coffee cart pisses me off because it's slow and inconsistent, the vending machine doesn't seem very upscale. And what Starbucks managed to do was make it seem like paying $5 for a 25-cent cup of coffee, which is the underlying cost, was a great deal. Because of the ambiance, because of the delivery, because of the foam and the whip and the customization. And so what I think you need to think about to truly, because it looks like, am I right that you're pitching this for real? You really would like someone to fund this. That's your dream.
So I am going through a venture development course, my MBA right now, where we are hashing out the actual business idea of this. So if we make it through and get our first round of funding at the end of it,
You're going to build it.
I would like to build it.
Yeah, great. So this is for real for you, which is fantastic. Thank you for coming on and sharing. I think you need to really step back and think about the emotional side and how do you now look, Starbucks did a great job. They took what you could get at the old time corner cafe for 25 cents and made it a $5. The joke was they were nicknamed $4 or $5.
Well, and kind of adding on to the ambiance aspect of it, you know, when you walk into a Starbucks, it's not just the coffee that wakes you up. It's the espresso machines that are whizzing. It's the person yelling at you to come up and give your order. There's a lot to it. And I've been to a Cafe X in it's either SFO or the Westfield Mall. I can't remember.
San Fran International Airport.
Yeah, so it was SFO, and it was very nah. There was no connection.
I would love to ask a question about, I guess, all three of your inputs. Danny, you were talking about, where was it? Cute faces, like cute Japanese faces making your coffee. When you pull up to the drive-thru, you get employee A who's wearing a mask and they hand you your coffee. Instead of getting that, we add a little bit of ambiance where there's an LED screen right above where you pick up your coffee and it's Stitch greeting you. And he greets you and says, hey, your coffee's ready. Or you walk in and there's a screen where you pick it up and Goku for a young person who is ordering coffee. It's a personalized experience that you can have your favorite character help present your coffee to you. Would that help?
No, because I stare at a screen all day long.
Okay.
I would actually rather have something real and physical. And to the point where I was talking about really cutesy robots, your market may be wrong initially here in the US. There may be a market for this in Tokyo, which is all about Japanese love, and this is a generalization, but there is a tremendous love for gadgets and newness and cutting edge. And so you may find a home outside the US and then bring it over like a number of other manufacturers have.
As an engineer, the numbers and the data really guide me. And so getting the perspective on how people actually feel when they purchase things is very valuable. And the idea came from a Luckin case study from out of China. They're trying to replicate Starbucks over there, but be the more quick and efficient Starbucks. So I really didn't put a whole lot of thought into the experience of Starbucks rather than how do I have a disruptive technology to an industry that wants to be better, faster, quicker.
Yeah, it's the engineering answer rather than the analytical answer. I mean, the analytical answer versus the creative answer. One of the things I would advocate is if you can get a hold of either somebody who's going through an MFA or somebody who is design and get their take on the experience.
User-centric design. Totally agree. So I want to wrap up. I have one more comment on that. There is a hybrid model. And I want to, one thing for anyone who's pitching, consider always, if you're trying to get funding, what is the least defensible thing that can make your product great and different and make Peter a ton of money, but is really simple. And Ryan, you're trying to eliminate, we agreed, you're trying to eliminate, your first slide says you're trying to eliminate waiting and inconsistency. And what you're hearing here is that we like the humans. And you said, well, yeah, but humans are inconsistent. They steal whatever. But you have a chance essentially to hire an untrained human whose only skill is handing out coffee and saying nice things. And they don't have to touch the money because it's mobile ordering, and they don't have to know how to make the coffee because your robot will do that. There may be a great middle model where essentially you have a barista, but in this case, the barista, his or her job is to be a greeter. They're like the Walmart greeter on steroids. They're the human interface to your beautifully perfect machine learning coffee. The other thing having a human there does for you that is valuable is the human is the perfect, not perfect. They're a pretty good solution to things that are wrong. In other words, oh, I meant 2 sweeteners. Oh, can I have a larger cup? Oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. Like they become your error recovery. And remember, a robot that gets my coffee right 9 times out of 10, but the last experience is a disaster because the robot can't interact with me and can't solve anything, is probably worse for me than humans who get it right 7 out of 10, but they can fix it. So just think about those things. So it is true. We could give you feedback all night. We want to move on. We have the next person waiting. I really appreciate you coming on. I love the contrast. Your slides are very different, and that's something for everyone to see how different slideware is different. Your slides were visual in a different way. A few people did point out you probably don't want to be asking, at least this audience, for a grant. You want an investment, and that comes with what's my return.
Yeah, the last 2 slides were more memey than they would be in a real VC pitch.
Got it.
Just put asking for a $5 million safe note and call it good.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Ryan, anything else you want from us really quickly? Otherwise, I'm going to move us along.
No, it was perfect. Thank you all very much for your time and your feedback. I really appreciated it.